Welcome to another edition of Bilingualism 101 with Dr. Varghese and Matthew Varghese. We have in the last talk, we have seen that thinking in English is very important for developing what you call the bilingual skills. And when you learn a language, the bilingual format, there are various aspects that you have to take care of. One of the thing is that your thought, which, as I have been explaining throughout my lecture or in this book, I've been explaining that one need to use the mind language or mentalist, but the language in use means use for communicating like English or Japanese or Hindi or Tamil or Russian or Italian. That is only a tool that we use to convey our thoughts. So the thoughts always remains the same, but the structure of the individual languages changes. And if you construct your thoughts in the structure of an individual language, what happens is that your brain is activated to use that particular structure of the language, the syntax of the language. Okay, we only follow those rules for communicating with others. So this is a very important problem, because if you think that you are thinking in your mother tongue, then you block all other possibilities for you to use your thoughts to communicate in another language. Okay? And this is one of the biggest problem that a multilingual person may face initially. But some way or other, through practice, he get over that impediment. He will be able to use both the languages easily. He may be able to transfer his thoughts into the structure of mother tongue, and as well as English or any other language that he is intending to communicate in with others. So this is, in fact, one of the thing which I described in this book. I, in fact, used this English bilingual project, in fact, to explain this as methodically as possible. When you construct your thoughts, mind that you understood that you are not constructing your thought in a particular language, especially in most cases, our mother tongue. And the mother tongue is only another language that one can use. Okay. As I have been saying last week, there are many people who live in many parts of the world, especially in India. Most of them may not be able to speak in their mother tongue properly, but they could speak in English. Why? Because they trained themselves from young age to communicate only in English, and they engage with people who speak English mostly, and with minimal use of their mother tongue. So it means that in whichever way you train your thoughts, transferring your thoughts into the structure of different languages, that matters more than which language used for thinking. Okay, so this conception or the idea of thinking using mother tongue is in fact not very true. We can think in different languages. We can use different languages for communicating, and we are also predisposed not use any language that we feel that we can communicate. So in my classes, I used to teach students how to switch what they linguistically called code switch from one language to another. It needs certain specific training. It doesn't mean that you know the grammar or syntax or vocabulary or semantics of these words, etc. You can communicate in that language. This is actually a misconception that is going on around in the world. So today, I will, as like before, I read some of the testimonials and explain to you of the students who attended my class. And I explain to you in such a way that explain to you that what they have achieved by educating themselves with this particular language. Sorry, for English, because one student has written this, what he has learned in this class. I have, sorry. Okay. There are two main things that I learned about bilingualism in this class. The first is that in order to become bilingual, it is important to continue to use English. I learned that when I wake up in the morning or before going to bed, it is a good idea to start by saying a word in English about everyday things around me. Okay, so I told them you need to train your mind, you train your memory with the things around you in English. You should not translate, for example, from Japanese to English. You should not, if you see an apple, don't name that fruit apple as Rinko and translate into English. You should actually first learn to think that object in English. For example, this is cell phone, smartphone. This is a book. Okay. For example, in Hindi, kitab, or in Tamil it is puttagam, or in Japanese it is hon. So you should not, when you see this, you should not think this object is in your mother tongue, like hon in Japanese, but you should think that object as English book, like that table, camera, computer, cup, tea, cover, camera cover. Like this, every object, screen, or whatever it is, bed, chair, quote, all these things in English and remember repeating it. So when you are able to understand things in the mother tongue, keeping the mother tongue away, and a non-native English learner practice this continuously, and then he has to learn usable verbs, like some 25 to 30 verbs. Take the cell phone, move the book, drink tea. Like this, you have to make short phrases, then short sentences. So what he says is, for example, I drink tea, or I wake up at 8 o'clock. I also learned that it is effective to express unknown words with non-words. That is a useful way to learn not only English, but also other languages. So actually, for example, if you know something, some word, pen, for example, you can easily learn pencil. No? So non-word to unknown words. With the non-words, this is a useful way to learn not only English, but also other languages. Another effective way to become a bilingual is to have a conversation by yourself. So actually, you should talk yourself. Make a conversation all the time, thinking that somebody is listening to you. And this conversation, you can do practice, whenever you have free time. And in this case, I also told them, before you go to bed, before you go to sleep, think in conversation, or after you wake up in the morning, when you are lying on the bed for, you can use this method of thinking in English, only in English, never use any mother tongue or mother tongue words. Okay? And that way, in other words, think in questions and answer yourself. So somebody is asking you a question, and somebody asks you way, regular conversation, and answer yourself. This is a great way to recreate a factual conversation. After that, to try writing the diary in English. So you have to start writing something, maybe a diary, okay, a journal. Get a paper, a book, and just think and write without translating from your mother tongue to English. This is what my students said, diary in English. It is a good idea to write down what happened that day using simple English words. So this is very important. Very simple English words, very simple short sentences, so that your mind will capture those expressions while you have to talk with somebody. Okay. The most important thing to do these things is to be conscious and continue every day. People can learn a lot by learning English every day without missing a day. So some of this, most of my Japanese students are very diligent in, if they get an idea, if they get this interesting, it improves their thing, then continuously practice without any. People can learn a lot by learning English every day without missing a day. The second is to stimulate the human brain very well. Being able to speak a foreign language while we are young is likely to reward me as I grow older. So this is actually, I have given a semester lecture on bilingualism and what bilingualism can bring to a learner, because the brain will acquire an extra resource, and that extra resource will actually help the learner to, they help the learner or user or the bilingual to have better mental strength. You know, the brain acquires a unique vitality to resist brain diseases. And brain diseases are a big problem in today's world. So people are actually struggling with that. Nobody has any cure for that, because nobody can find a medicine to cure brain diseases. It's a very sad situation. What all medicine they have, it affects your neural circuits. So bilingual create a neural circuit which kept the brain health, protect its brain health. Bilingual can acquire a better brain health like that. So this is what one of my student has written, and what is he used to practice, and this is I copied into. With his permission, I included in this book. Then another student also written about the bilingual English method. So as I told you, any speaker of any language, when he is speaking in his mother tongue, it is not easy for him to switch to another language unless he is trained. So this training should be done, especially from people who live in a country, monolingual country like Japan, because here everything is done in, there is no need of learning English for living in Japan, maybe only for traveling abroad or working in some foreign company, or, situation is very different from other countries, developing countries like India, because India, at least you should know English for getting a higher education. But most of the people find it very difficult to switch from mother tongue to English. So they can actually practice this method. It help you to switch from your mother tongue to English. You will later will understand your thoughts are independent of the language you are using. And that ability is very, very essential for one to become a bilingual. Otherwise, people will always think that they think in their mother tongue and translate from mother tongue to. So always you have this problem of what expression I have to give while I am thinking in this language, So this is a very serious problem that many language users find it in many countries in Asia and South America and Asia and Europe, and places where English is or English use is minimum. Or and another problem is the structure of the language. English and Japanese, or English and Tamil, or English and Hindi have different structures, which people don't consider as questions to be addressed. Another students have written, I have learned a lot of things about bilingualism in this class. I will write what I have understood about bilingual brain and the way to train our brain to think in English. So this is very important. You need to train your brain to think in English. It won't not going to generate without practice. Okay. Think in English. This is the most important thing in order to become a bilingual. We should start with something easy when we practice thinking in English, first think in single words, single words. Second, think in sentences. Third, describe daily activities. Fourth, think in conversation. So these are all actually I explained in the class, but he has written systematically. We should carry out these 4 steps gradually. In addition to these things, we should also describe unknown words so that we can use many words in conversation. So this is very important. People actually learn more words through practice. While they are reading a book, learn more words. When they are listening a news item or a movie, they should learn more words, so that they can make better conversation. The key to become a bilingual is practicing it daily, over and over again, by making things a habit. It just pop up into your mind without thinking. So this is a very important. When you make this into a practice, when you are saying, for example, you see apple in a store where the person speaks only English, you can say that, you can give me the apple. The process of thinking in Japanese and English is very, very difficult. Ringo kudasai. So this is a structure. Ringo kudasai means Ringo is apple, kudasai means give me. Okay? So in English, you have to use a different structure. Give me apple. Okay. Okay. So or give like get me apple, or like that. So this structure difference is a very important thing that they have to practice regularly, and that practicing daily over and over again, it will become a habit. As I described in above, I have learned a lot of things about bilingualism. In this class, I understood the reason I feel speaking English is difficult. This is because I translate English from Japanese when I speak English. So actually the thought he translates from Japanese to English and when he's speaking. From now onwards, I'll try to practice thinking in English over and over again. I would like to become a bilingual. So I keep practicing what I have learned in this class. So this is actually a testimony from my student, and I can vouchsafe that this testimony which he has given is very important because he benefited by learning a language in this way. And anybody who follows this thinking in English will understand that thinking in English is not a difficult thing. It is practically possible. But what is important is that the structure of English should I go home is the English way of saying go home, because verb and object. But in Japanese, for example, watashi wa ii ni kimasu. So it is object and verb. Verb always comes in the end. So this changes, or I eat biscuit to tabemasu. Okay. So in fact, biscuit will come as the object before the verb. So this is there in many Indian languages, in Asian languages. So we have to practice ourselves to switch between these two practice. We will have a few more lectures like this, and and we conclude the introduction to my book. Then today, I wish all of you are benefited by this. Or if you have benefited by this, please share, please subscribe, share, like this video, and share it with your colleagues or friends who find it very difficult to learn or teach English. And this testimonials from my student actually encourage any learner to practice himself at home. It is very simple practices, but it give you a lot of positive result. And it doesn't mean that you should not learn grammar or rules, but that should not be the learning process in the beginning. The beginning, you should know how to think in English. Your thoughts has to be processed in the syntactical procedure of the language. That is what I want to say. I switch over to Japanese. Many of the listeners are Japanese speakers, so I wish to convey. So, 今日の話、どうやって英語で考えする。これ、この前の講義の中も私、説明してあげた。でも、英語で考えするというのは、見るとき簡単です。でも、これ、話すように簡単じゃない。どうしてと言ったら、言葉と言葉の間、特別で英語と日本語を見たら、前から私言ってること、このストラクチャルは、順番は違うです。この順番間違えるとき、英語から日本語、日本語から英語に訳するというのは難しい。あれは無理になる。壁になる。頭の中に壁作る。それから、ちっちゃい話もできないように、頭の中、これ、プロセスできないように。これを被るために私たち直接英語で考えしないといけない。今日私、私の生徒さんからもらったテスティモニアル、この本の中書いてる。このテスティモニアルどうやってと言ったら、みんな自分で私教えたように、一番最初、一つ一つの単語。リンゴじゃない、アップル。鉛筆じゃない、ペンシル。スクエアじゃない、デスク。スマートフォンじゃない、スマートフォン、セルフォン。その場合で、周りのものを考えて、これ本じゃない、book。これを考えて、やるとき、私たちの単語、使えれる単語を増やす。頭の中これ入ってくる、ポップアップするようになる。Okay? So when you go to a shop, you will automatically process your thought and give me an apple, or I want buy an apple. Like this, you will know how to process your thought in the structure of the English language. And this is what I described in this book, how to switch from Japanese to English and English to Japanese. So this is what is called thinking in English. So これ、生徒さん書いてることは、単語、一つ一つ単語で考えて、それから、単語と動詞入れて、動詞いっぱいなら、毎日使うの動詞 なるって、これをどうやって使うと言ったら、go home、ね、run to school、こういうような場合で、eat lunch、eat breakfast。この場合で練習して、やるとき、話するときこれ入ってくる。この文節を作った。それから自分でコンバセーションするように。なんか、レストランでやって、ウェイトとか話すのこととか、自分で学んでやる。それをするとき、あなたたちいつも考えてる日本語の、何やれ、日本語の、中入ってること、日本語で考えすること、これ、ゆっくり減る。英語で存分考えして話すようになる。これは、あなたたち自分で練習しないといけない。これは、しないとき、これしないで気をつけて、本土で日本語から英語に文法とか入れて話すとき、頭本当ね、苦しみになる。That 苦しみ you don't like. That is why many people avoid speaking in English. Okay? This is typical in many countries where the English and structures are different. この言葉の順番違ってるところで、インドとか日本とか、多分中国とか同地の人たちにこんな問題じゃない。どうすると順番大体同じです。それで、Ich bin hungry とか、if I'm hungry is very clearly aligned in a correct way. So you can just need to learn, and the structure never going to affect you. But in the case of Japanese, the structure always work against you. And then, here people are afraid of making mistakes. So they always want to speak or communicate perfect language. これはもう一番問題のことですね。本当で残念ながら言葉というのは完璧なものじゃない。私たち話するとき作ること、we are making our thoughts into sentences and phrases while you are communicating in a language. But in a world that is so proud of being very scientific, and it's very difficult to push this idea. But as I was telling in my lecture, that so many students have benefited by it. These are all not returning students or not studied English some other country, and they are all Japanese students who attended my class, and if they can write like this, and that too was in an year when the entire world was locked down due to Corona problem. So they studied at home. I only give lecture like this on my online classes. So they followed it up and they developed their skills to an appreciable level. So これは本当で英語を使えるようになったというのは、日本の場合で考えたら、一応これは一つ、本当で、何やれ、本当でもらった力ですね。このために海外行って暮らすとかそういうようなことをしないで自分で、何やね、作った一つ力です。そう。 if my students can achieve this, anybody can achieve. This is not, it's not, language is not or something which require high intelligence or something. That is not what is required. What is required is the positive attitude, ability これ本当で何やれこういうのちょっと面白いくらいな練習やってゆっくり能力を良くすることというのは一番大事です。このみんなにこのビデオシェアして、これ何やねサブスクライブもして、like、サブスクライブ、そういうようなことをやったら、これ多分いっぱい人たちに助けると思う。So that is it for today. We will have another lecture in another day. Thank you for listening. Bye.